Dear friends, today we will talk about the prevention of pollution. Pollution arises from human activities that put unwanted or waste substances in the environment, the air, the land, the water, that contaminate the surroundings, disrupt natural systems, and make the environment less healthy for the people and other living things. Pollution comes in a variety of forms from an array of sources. Becoming familiar with some of the common classification terms can help to reduce the risk of exposure and unnecessary harm to your health and the environment. Toxic substances are both found in nature and manufactured by humans. Toxicity is a measure of the biological strength of a poison. Some substances are only toxic if they are encountered in a specific volume or concentration. Others are lethal and cause death in the smallest amount. The dominant categories of potentially toxic substances are organic, metal, and radioactive pollutants. Organic pollutants, by definition, contain carbon. They can be formed with natural products from plants, animals, coal, and oil, or synthesized artificially to produce such compounds as industrial solvents, pesticides, explosives, resins, plastics, and fibers. Lead and mercury are the two most commonly found toxic metals in the home. Mercury is commonly found in thermometers, while lead is common in older paints. Radioactive pollutants emit radiation, that is, energy in the form of electromagnetic waves or moving particles, to the air, water, or soil through improper disposal, accidents, or explosions. Many organic, metal, and radioactive pollutants are also persistent pollutants. These substances are highly resistant to degradation by any means. They remain in the environment for extended periods of time and are able to accumulate in the fatty tissues of plants and animals faster they can be eliminated. This process, called bioaccumulation, permits persistent pollutants to be passed along a food chain from eaten to eater. Plants and animals, especially those at the top of the food chain, can contain these pollutants in harmful and lethal doses. Pollution originates from various sources. Point source. Pollution comes from a specific originating point, a pipe from a factory or wastewater discharge from a treatment facility. Non-point source. Pollutants mainly come from municipal and agricultural sources, but include a wide range of activities. These pollutants are carried by runoff and end up in rivers, streams, and lakes in elevated concentrations. Area source is a system used to report small pollution emissions by category rather than individual source. Examples include dry cleaners, gas stations, fuel combustion, landfills, and wastewater treatment. Pollution affects us all, but most of all, it affects the most vulnerable in our society, the young, elderly, and the poor. Pollution does not follow political or geographic boundaries, so regardless of where it was released, pollutants can end up in our soil, air, food, and water. Some persistent organic pollutants can travel thousands of kilometers, so pollution is never just someone else's problem. Prevention is a process whereby proactive action is taken. This involves communication, planning, and solving problems at the source of where they occur. Prevention also embraces the philosophy of continual improvement. Pollution prevention can be defined as the use of processes, practices, materials, products, substances, or energy that avoid or minimize the creation of pollutants and waste and reduce the overall risk to human health or the environment. In other words, people can prevent pollution by changing how they do things and by changing the materials they use. By making these changes, you can eliminate or minimize the amount of waste you produce, which reduces or eliminates the chance that you will harm the environment. Pollution prevention involves continual improvement through design, technical, operational, and behavioral changes. These changes help move towards sustainability. Pollution prevention is one of the key components of environmental, economic, and social sustainable development. Sustainable consumption not only prevents pollution but also combats climate change. All types of stakeholders, governments, industry, institutions, or citizens contribute to pollution and have to take leadership to prevent pollution. Pollution prevention implementation can meet with impediments in the short term but leads to long-term benefits. The means to achieve pollution prevention range from very straightforward and simple to technical and complicated. Environmental citizenship should be a personal commitment of each citizen to take responsible actions and practice pollution prevention. Community-based social marketing could help individuals and organizations to change their behavior. Pollution prevention and sustainability, a natural fit. Our common future, also known as Brundtland Commission report, released in 1987, examined the question of how the world could maintain economic growth without seriously damaging the environment. The report proposed what is now the most popular definition of sustainability: development that serves to meet the needs of present generations but that does not jeopardize the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Every sector of a society has a role to play if sustainability is to be attained. Pollution prevention can play a lead role in attaining sustainability. Pollution is not only a detriment to the environment, it is also a sign of an inefficient process. Pollution prevention programs have always promoted resource conservation and production efficiencies that encourage sustainable industrial activities. Pollution prevention is a concept that helps us educate others about the principles of sustainability. It provides a practical set of useful tools to make corporate and community sustainability practical. Sustainable consumption is the use of goods and services that respond to basic needs and bring a better quality of life while minimizing the use of natural resources, toxic materials, and emissions of waste and pollutants over the life cycle, so as not to jeopardize the needs of future generations. Pollution prevention is about making smart choices, both in what we buy and in how we use products. The less you purchase, the less waste and pollution you create, and the less energy and fewer resources you consume. By taking a pollution prevention approach, consumers can change their consumption patterns towards those products and services that have significantly lower impacts throughout their life cycle, thereby moving closer towards sustainable consumption. Globally, if everyone were to consume at the rate of an average North American, we would need 4 Earths to sustain everyone's needs. The reality is that we only have one Earth. Many people fear that measures to scale back on our consumption will generate unemployment and inflict hardship on working people and their families. These fears are understandable, but making the transition to less wasteful, ecologically sound ways of living will lead to an economy that generates green job growth. All types of individuals and organizations, whether they be governments, industry, institutions, or citizens, contribute pollution to the environment. The toxicity or volume generated may vary, as for some it may be the only waste paper or dirty water. For others, it may be hazardous or toxic wastes that require special handling and disposal. Pollution prevention and the individual. Although the quantities are very small, every citizen generates various wastes such as solid wastes, hazardous wastes, and wastewater. Community-based actions involving ordinary Indians is happening on issues such as water conservation, proper sewage disposal, air pollution, pesticide use, oil spill prevention, wood stove purchasing, vehicle idling, and personal transportation choices. When buying products, consumers should look for eco labels. These labeling programs are helping individuals make informed purchasing decisions on products such as appliances, cleaners, electricity, and paints, with the end objective of reducing their environmental impacts. Mobility and convenience are two words that come to mind when thinking about personal transportation. Choosing to own a personal vehicle certainly achieves mobility and convenience. The choice of owning a car also comes with environmental responsibility. Driving a personal vehicle produces high volumes of greenhouse gases from combustion. Choosing a fuel-efficient vehicle that suits your everyday needs can reduce greenhouse emissions by up to 1 ton a year. Driving just 10% less by choosing services close to home or work, carpooling, walking, cycling, and using public transportation reduces your greenhouse gases emissions and saves time, money, and fuel. Having a fully tuned vehicle with correct tire pressure uses up to 50% less fuel and therefore produces 50% fewer emissions. While pollution prevention initiatives at the corporate or industry level may have a far greater impact on reducing the generation of pollution and waste than the actions of individuals, the importance of pollution prevention at the individual level should not be underestimated. Awareness of environmental impacts associated with purchasing decisions, lifestyles, and behaviors, and a commitment to act upon that knowledge in order to reduce resource consumption and waste will help guide our society towards a more sustainable future. Each individual must try to answer 4 basic questions. Where do the things that I consume come from? What do I know about the place where I live? How am I connected to the earth and other living things? What is my purpose and responsibility as a human being? Individuals can contribute to pollution prevention and environmental protection at many levels. By reducing consumption of energy and resource through conservation, recycling, and reuse of products and materials, and by minimizing reliance on automobiles and throwaway products, each person can reduce his or her net impact on the environment. Our individual efforts to conserve resources and prevent waste can serve as examples to our families and friends, thereby perpetuating an ethic of conservation and environmental awareness. By expressing a preference for environmentally improved goods through our purchasing decisions, we can send a message to manufacturers that they must focus on reducing the environmental impacts of their goods in order to remain competitive. In the workplace, we can strive to find ways to reduce the environmental impacts associated with whatever industry, economic activity, or service we are involved in. As voters and citizens, we can support political leaders who will be proactive on environmental issues and who will help ensure that laws are passed to protect environmental quality and spur prevention-oriented actions within all economic sectors. We can also become active in grassroots efforts to ensure that industry and other pollution sources remain accountable to communities, pressuring them when necessary to maximize their efforts to reduce environmental impacts and protect human health. In the life cycle of a product or service, we as consumers can have a significant influence on the initial and final stages. Making smart and informed choices about the products you buy and how you use and dispose of them can have a tremendous impact on pollution prevention. Hundreds of common consumer products such as furniture polish, window cleaner, paint, and some glues all have hazardous constituents. Every product is slightly different. It is important to know how to identify hazardous products and the risks associated with using them. There are many alternative household cleaning and maintenance products available on the market. When possible, the least toxic products should be considered. When you buy any household product, there are various issues to deal with. For example, questions may include: what are the various constituents? Where was the product manufactured? Is the product packaged appropriately? Is the packaging recyclable or returnable? The unused or unwanted portion of many home cleaning and maintenance products, when disposed or used improperly, can be a significant source of toxic pollution, harming human health and the environment. Educating yourself about proper handling, use, storage, and disposal methods will prevent pollution at the source. Only buying products you absolutely need and using up the entire quantity is the best way to avoid disposal problems. The best way to keep toxic products out of the home is to not buy them. If it is possible to avoid the use of toxic products, it is critical to be aware of the hazardous waste collection options available in our community or municipality. The key is to keep toxic products out of the regular garbage stream, going to landfill, being incinerated, or dumped down the drain. A growing concern is developing in the area of chemical pollution from the overuse and improper disposal of personal care products such as cosmetics, sunscreens, fragrances, insect repellents, medications, contraceptives, and pharmaceuticals. Chemical compounds in these products are entering the environment and being detected in many water bodies throughout India. Chemicals in these products have been identified as reproductive toxins and or carcinogens and lead to antibiotic resistance in a wide range of species, including humans. In addition to physical stressors, elevated chemical concentration in soils and waterways is contributing to alterations of natural community structure through habitat disruption and fragmentation. Unused pharmaceuticals, medications, and other personal care products should not be disposed of down your sink drains or in the toilet. Learning techniques to prevent pest problems is an effective strategy to reduce the need of pesticides. Integrated pest management and plant health care are two common practices used to achieve this goal. The central component of integrated pest management is planning and managing ecosystems to prevent organisms from becoming pests. Treatments are used that are least hazardous to human health, least toxic to non-target organisms, least damaging to the environment, most likely to produce long-term results, and most cost-effective over time. Try to plant trees wherever you can, and more importantly, take care of them. Reduce the use of wood and paper products wherever possible. Help in restoring a degraded area near your home or join an afforestation program. Advocate organic farming, which will reduce the use of pesticides. Reduce the use of fossil fuels. Shut off the lights and fans when not needed. Use rechargeable batteries. Recycle all newspapers, glass, aluminum, and other items. Set up a compost bin in your garden and use it to produce manure for your plants to reduce the use of fertilizers. Purchase paper products containing post-consumer recycled paper. 1 ton of recycled paper uses 64% less energy, 50% less water, 74% less air pollution. Take care to put into practice what you preach. Remember, environment protection begins with you. 4 steps to pollution prevention. Individuals and families can achieve pollution prevention by following a 4-step plan. Taking inventory, examining options, and choosing priorities. Making and implementing the plan and telling your neighbors. Taking inventory requires you to look at the energy, materials, and substances you use, and the procedures and practices you follow to do everyday things such as caring for your lawn and cleaning your home. Examining your options and choosing your priorities requires learning about the environmental effects of the way you do things, informing yourself about alternatives, different products, and different ways of doing things will reduce the environmental impact of your actions. Once you have set priorities, you can make and implement your plan. Set out a timeline for what you want to achieve and set out how you will achieve it. Finally, you will want to tell your neighbors, colleagues about your pollution prevention plan, because the more people you practice pollution prevention, the greater the benefits are. The benefits of pollution prevention: more economic and efficient production. Pollution really is just waste, and waste is expensive. Waste is something that you have to pay for at some point, and now you cannot use it. It costs money to take waste away. It costs money to store waste, and wastes such as what is found in landfill continue to take their toll on the environment by, for example, leaking pollutants into water tables and emitting greenhouse gases such as methane. Production methods that reduce the amount of waste generated mean that more raw materials are put to good use, and less waste needs to be hauled away, treated, transported, and stored somewhere, where it may damage the environment for years to come. Process modifications such as eliminating the use of solvents in press room cleanup routines, using electronic imaging to eliminate the need for film and film developing solvents, and reusing inks are just some of the ways individuals can do to avoid the generation of waste. Depending on the extent of consumption, savings from reduced purchases and reduced need for disposal and waste handling can range from just a few $100s to many thousands of dollars. Reduced impacts on the environment. Waste is not always hauled away. Sometimes it enters the environment by escaping up a smokestack or by being dumped into water. Air and water pollution cause many problems: smog, acid rain, lung-related health problems, and climate change. Hormone-mimicking chemicals from processing plants and farm runoff disrupt endocrine systems and can cause deformities in aquatic animals and birds. Reducing or eliminating emissions to the air and water by pollution prevention creates the benefit of reducing these and other impacts on the natural environment. Green dry cleaning operations have found unique ways to eliminate or greatly reduce the use of hazardous air pollutant perchloroethylene. Improved operating and maintenance procedures, more efficient equipment, and a range of alternative cleaning products and methods result in less employee exposure to this toxic compound and fewer emissions to the environment. Elimination of toxic emissions. The most serious form of pollution is toxic pollution, which poses the greatest threat to the health of ecosystems and people. Pollution prevention sets everyone the challenge to remove toxic substances from the things they do and make, either by using a non-toxic substitute or by changing the process so the toxic material is no longer required. Many years back, many vehicles came with the mercury-containing light switches installed under the hood or in the trunk. Automotive recyclers traditionally crash vehicles without removing the mercury switches, thus releasing the mercury into the environment. Car manufacturers now use alternative light switches not containing mercury in their vehicles. This is a first step in making vehicles on our roads mercury-free. Overcoming barriers to pollution prevention. How we can bring about change. Although the benefits for pollution prevention are evident, implementation can be inhibited by certain barriers such as general lack of concern or awareness. Engaging co-workers, colleagues, friends, and family in a discussion about pollution prevention is an important first step to positive change. The following are tips on what can be done to overcome common barriers and will help you to motivate others while avoiding potential conflict. Obtained information. Many organizations and individuals are skeptical about the potential benefits of pollution prevention. Become informed about the basic issues and always be ready to refer interested people to relevant books, websites, government offices, and environmental organizations. In circumstances where pollution prevention measures require time and capital investment, be prepared to outline a business case highlighting long-term savings. Develop partnerships. Skeptics who are resistant to change will be difficult to deal with. Focus on the interests and concerns you share as a means to build respectful and productive relationships. For pollution prevention to work, people will have to look at the way they do things with a fresh eye. Forget that it has always been done that way. You have to be willing to experiment a bit to get the kinks out and test new ways of doing things. Set realistic goals. Taking on too much at once may doom your momentum from the start. Set a goal and pace yourself. Try simple options first. As you gain experience and have some successful projects under your belt, look at more difficult options. Build support. Believe it or not, many people and groups share your interest and concern. Joining forces with others result in shared knowledge and skills and intensified moral support. At the workplace, you can demonstrate management support by developing a written company policy on pollution prevention, setting goals for reducing waste, and publicizing and rewarding success. If you are aware of the barriers and plan for them, your chances of preventing pollution will be greater. With this, we come to an end to this program. Thank you for watching.